Welcome back, everyone, to David and Aaron Save the World, yet again.
Indeed. We're here to save the world, and you're here to be a silent observer on our mighty crusade.
As we do this for the 14th time, I believe it is.
Whoa, this is the 14th time?
Yeah.
Nice.
14th episode. Well, if you count the multiple times we save it per episode, it's probably like the 207th time or something. But we'll just go by episode for now.
Okay, that sounds good. We're going to save the world. I like it.
Although I do feel like I have to give the listeners a warning that we have a lot to talk about. That's follow-up this episode. So we'll see
Excellent.
where that goes. But hopefully it's all good things still.
Yeah. If it's not, this is just going to be the shortest episode we've had to date. So, yeah.
Or the least listened to episode to date.
Oh.
One of the two.
Hopefully not that. People, please just listen. I don't care. Just listen to us.
So, should we just dive right into it?
Yeah, let's do it. I want to hear your follow-up. Let's hit your first follow-up.
Okay, so my first follow-up item is that I went to another parade and fireworks show this summer.
Oof.
Summer is coming to an end, and last time I think we talked about the one we went to together.
Yeah.
Well, this was for the 4th of July celebration in my city, and I had made all these hypotheses last time about parades and fireworks and when they're good and when they're bad.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
And then I went to this parade and this fireworks show, and it flipped everything upside down for me.
Okay.
So let me
why?
let me explain my experience. So when you and I went to that parade that we talked about in the last show, we both talked about how we both really didn't want to be there. It was much too slow. Nothing went fast enough.
Yeah. It was a drag. It was boring. I couldn't stand it. There's just nothing interesting to look at. And yeah.
Exactly. But in this parade, there was two things that changed the whole experience for me, which was weird that it had such an effect.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The first was, I didn't realize this at the time, but the one we went to didn't have any like military things whatsoever. There was no jeeps or tanks or anything of that nature. But this one that I went to had all sorts of military stuff.
Really?
And I don't know why, but that just like instantly got me way more excited than anything else. I was like, oh, sweet, there's a tank coming down the road. Like, this is awesome. You know?
Right,
Maybe that's just my childhood fantasies coming out or something, but it made it like 100 times better just for that, to see all sorts of military vehicles in the parade.
I can't believe we didn't think of this, but yeah, like if the parade was led by tanks and was full of military vehicles, I would have been a lot more interested too. That's a lot. They're really cool to look at. They're really interesting. They do cool things, you know, and that I'm not surprised. Not too surprised.
And not to mention, this parade has a tradition at the end to launch a cannon to mark the end of the parade. So they like will go 100 feet, launch the cannon, go another 100 feet, launch the cannon. It's just an air blast, but just to hear a cannon going off.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't just launch a cannon into the crowd and see what happens. I should clarify that. Yeah, it's just an air blast, but it does make it just really cool to hear a cannon going off, you know.
Right. I mean, the most exciting part of the parade is making sure you survive the last part of the parade. You know, it's the best part. You run for cover. Everyone brought their Kevlar vests, and you should be good.
I don't think Kevlar's helping you against a cannon blast, but
Not directly. No, and anyone who's in the direct line of fire, they are no more. But that's okay. We don't need to worry about that.
that would make parades more exciting if you had to, you know, survive the outcome. But
right, yeah.
Then the other thing that was really interesting about this parade that made it way better was, strangely enough, they recently put a new bus lane in our city. so that the bus can just go through the center of the street and it doesn't have to pull over to the side every time, and people can load and unload from the center.
Yeah.
But what it did is it put a big divider in the street that normally the parade could just go straight down the center of the street, but now there's a big divider in there because of the bus lane. And so initially I thought that would make it weird, because I thought, they can't go down the center, they're going to go down the left side or the right side. Is that going to be weird to watch? But it actually made the parade like twice as fast, because what would happen is they would send the floats in opposite lanes. So they'd send like one or two down one side and the next one or two down the other side. And so if a float got delayed, it didn't back up the whole parade because it was in only one lane. So the rest of the parade could keep going on the right side or on the left. And so the parade was only like an hour long max. Like, it was way more shorter.
What?
Yeah.
You serious? Only an hour long?
Yeah. Like, it was way shorter. Probably more floats and stuff than what was in the parade we saw, but half the time. Which made it
beautiful.
Way better. So I was like actually enjoying this parade, and I was really confused.
You're like, they didn't apply any of our suggestions, and I'm still having fun. This is very strange.
What happened here? I'm confused.
That's genius, though. Like, why didn't I think of that? Just double up or triple up on floats. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You the amount of time that it takes for them to pass in front of you is plenty of time to see what the float is. Like, it's too much time. That's why one at a time was boring.
Right.
But if you're doing two at a time, you just cranking through. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I don't know what my new theory is, but it definitely involves more tanks and more lanes. So
good. I approve of these things. These are Aaron approved.
Okay, so if that wasn't strange enough to start off the day, then I go to the fireworks show.
Did we talk directly about fireworks shows?
I don't think we talked a whole lot. I think we mentioned last time that fireworks are always really cool.
Yeah.
But in this case, I was really excited because my wife and I live in an apartment complex that happens to be kind of on a hill, so that we could kind of see everything in the city. So we could see the nice big fireworks show, and we had this great view. And I was really excited, like, oh, yeah, we live on the hill for this year, and we get to see the fireworks show nice and close. We don't have to go through all the traffic. Like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then it was perhaps the lamest fireworks show I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so boring. It was one of those shows where the fireworks go just like one at a time for like, instead of being like 10 minutes of just awesomeness blasting up in the air, it was like 30 minutes of like, doo, pshoo, doo, pshoo, like just one at a time. Super slow. And it was even to the point where the finale came on, and I didn't realize it was the finale. Like, there's maybe like 3 or 4 fireworks. I'm like, no, that's not the finale. And my wife's like, I'm pretty sure that's the finale. Like, they're turning on the lights down there, and like everyone's leaving. Like, I'm like, no, that can't be the finale. There wasn't nearly enough fireworks.
Right, like that was it. That was it. Come on, I thought this was supposed to be the end. Like, oh, that is brutal.
So it also busted my theories that fireworks shows are always cool. They aren't.
Right.
I have an example.
Right, they aren't.
You gotta have that speed. It's all about speed.
Yeah,
I want fireworks just blasting away.
Right. Well, I don't want to. I don't want the time to observe each individual firework. Like, them by themselves, yes, it's neat, but like, I've seen fireworks before. Like, come on, let's get this going. Let's see something interesting. That's what makes things interesting. Is it's just rapid fire, right?
Yeah.
Not so at this fireworks show.
So I don't know if you have any particular solutions, but one that came to my mind is that I think fireworks show launching rates should be like an exponential curve. Like, you can start the fireworks off one at a time for maybe a minute, just to like let people know, like, hey, the fireworks show's starting. You better be ready to watch. And then 2 minutes, you're talking 4 or 5 at a time. And by like 10 minutes, I want to see like 100 in the air every second. I don't want to be able to see through the fireworks. I just want like a glowing orb of just flames and lights.
Yeah. Of just beautiful destruction. Yes, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. It sounds like the perfect, beautiful thing to just accelerate at just that rate. It would just be perfect. Because then all of a sudden, like, it's just so many fireworks, and you're just so amazed. And then there could be no question about the finale. and yeah, I see no problems.
When your retinas stop burning, that's when the finale is over. That's what I want in a fireworks show.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you agree.
I think that is a fabulous suggestion. I don't really have a lot of pointers for fireworks shows, but I agree wholeheartedly with, like, do something. Like, I don't want to just sit there and watch one after the other. And doubly, like, they can't be too far away, because, like, fireworks that are really far away are, like, I don't know, like a firefly. Like, it's kind of, you can, like, wow, that's really pretty, and then it's gone, and you're like, oh, okay. Or it's, like, really interesting for a second, because it's like, wow, you saw that little glisten of light in the sky, but then, like, you get to, like, close to the fireworks show, and you can feel each explosion.
That's the
and that's
best.
What's interesting.
I love that feeling.
Yeah.
When it, like, shakes your body. It's awesome.
Yes. You feel it, like, in your bones and in the back of your skull, and it's just boom, boom, boom. It's just perfect. And I think that's better. I think that's, like, more important in a fireworks show than the lights themselves.
Right.
Proximity and frequency, I think, are the two most important factors in a fireworks show.
Agreed. Both of those should be high.
This makes me want to go to EDC. Take you to EDC. It's the huge EDM festival in Las Vegas. They do it every year.
For those that don't know, EDM, again, it's electronic dance music, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know what it is, like, go check it out. What are you waiting for? It's amazing and it's wonderful, and everyone's included. So, like, come enjoy. But that festival, they have fireworks to go along with the music. Like, they have these huge stages and these huge lights and this huge crowd of people, and then just huge fireworks. I really want to experience it someday in my life. It sounds and looks beautiful. You can look up videos and stuff. It just looks amazing.
Aaron, I think if you and I went to that, it'd be similar to our experience when we went to that comic book convention, and you were all dressed up and, like, ready to go, and I was still in slacks and a polo shirt. I would be the only guy at that dance festival still in slacks and a polo shirt, like, in the middle of a mosh pit somehow, and not sure how I got there, and just, like, folding my arms, like, trying to get away from people.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I would expect nothing less. I wouldn't be far behind you. Like, I'd be in jeans and a t-shirt probably, or, like, cargo shorts and a t-shirt. But, like, yeah, it's not exactly an Aaron and David and Aaron kind of place to be. It's a little much. A little bit of the drug scene, a little bit of the crazy people, a little bit of the fighting and the mosh pit stuff. But, you know, the music's good, so maybe someday. My wife has said that she would be willing to go with me to a concert, but I just don't know about that. I just don't think she would like it. She's not a huge party animal, so, you know.
Right.
That's just unlikely. But anyway, we got to go see some big fireworks sometimes. Some real fireworks shows.
Sounds good. After you've been rocking out all day, and I've been taking a lint roller to my slacks from all the people that have been walking by.
Oh, man. We'd probably both have a headache within 2 hours of starting and just be miserable for most of the night, because it's just like an all-night thing.
Right.
It would ruin your sleep schedule and just... I don't think that'll ever happen. But, you know... you know.
Can I propose more follow-up?
Indeed. Please continue.
So another follow-up item that you may recall was last time we talked about the proper way of pronouncing the abbreviation GIF, right? With
Yeah.
the hard G.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
A GIF, yeah.
turns out I asked Facebook how people pronounced it because I was just curious if people say GIF or GIF.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I did not realize how much of a holy war it was on the GIF versus GIF pronunciation. Like, you would have thought I was, like, making fun of people's religions and, like, calling their mothers gypsies and stuff. I had someone, like, legitimately say they would unfriend me because they were just offended by my question and, like, how stupid it was. Like, it wasn't, like, joking. Like, they just were legitly mad about the whole argument. And
No.
anyways, it was crazy. There were harsh words thrown back and forth between GIFers and GIFers, and I saw some crazy stuff going on. So,
I mean, it's nothing to insult or attack anyone over. It's just one side is clearly right. That's the only thing, you know.
Right.
I don't think
I
it's
agree.
worth violence.
I think the only thing I've seen that's more ridiculous is the fight over the Oxford comma. Has a similar vein of people that do and do not use it.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it quite? Yeah, that actually makes sense.
it's quite a holy war as well.
I've seen the outskirts of that war, the outer battles, and it's been interesting. The Oxford comma is the one where you put the comma at the end, like you comma, and you do this, and comma this.
Right. Or comma and this.
Or comma and this, right, yeah. And a wait, so that is the Oxford comma,
That is
right?
the Oxford comma. And some people don't
Right,
put that
okay.
comma there.
Right. I think that they're wrong, but that's okay.
Oh, good. We agree on that.
What do you, wait, you agree? The Oxford comma, you think that's the right way to go?
Yeah, Oxford comma. There's 3 things there. You need to seperate them. So,
Okay,
we're good.
I'm glad that we're...
We won't get into that battle
glad that
right
we're
now.
on
We
the
got another
same
one to
side.
finish.
Okay.
But this is the funny thing to me. So I was polling the internet, looking at different sites that had already done polls, asking my friends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I found that around 70% of people say GIF. So I'm glad the majority is right, which is good.
Yeah. Not I'm glad I'm in the majority. No. I'm glad the majority is right. And I agree with that sentiment. I'm glad that the majority is right as well.
And I think it's interesting because I was listening to arguments, right, from the Jiffers, we'll call them, right?
Yeah.
And,
Okay, yeah. The Jiffers.
and they had some good points. But there's one argument I won't accept. You can tell me you just always have pronounced it Jiff. That's fine.
Okay, that's fine. You saw it once and it was Jiff, and then it's always been Jiff after that. That's fine.
Right, because it's really arbitrary, right? When you really think about it. You can just tell me you really like Jiff peanut butter, and so you've always pronounced it Jiff. That's fine, too. The one I hate when people make, though, is when they say that they use Jiff because that's what the guy that made GIF called it.
Right, yeah. That's how he pronounced it.
Which to me is a dumb argument because
Yeah.
that doesn't matter.
Right.
The speed limit is 25 miles per hour. You don't tell me that you're going 25 miles per hour just because that's what it says it is on the road. You know?
Right.
It's like saying that, like, Google came out one day and said, well, we actually pronounced it Joogle instead of Google. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right. The founder.
It just depends on what the masses say. The masses say it's Google. It doesn't matter what they change it to if they change it to something. Same with GIF. Everyone sees that and says GIF. Like, the masses agree. That's how it should be said.
Right. I kind of, part of me hopes that the creator of it is just trying to spark a little bit of that war. He's just trying to be like, well, I pronounce it Jeff. And you're like, just trying to see what reaction he can get out of people. Just like throwing a match into a room full of gasoline, just trying to see what'll happen.
He's just trying to, like, keep his own fame up. Like, no one would know his name otherwise, but, like, now everyone knows because of the GIF versus GIF argument.
Right, yeah, exactly. Now he's a big deal because now 30% of the people that are wrong can quote him, so he can be quoted by people who are wrong. So I don't know if he's really won anything, but it was certainly a valiant effort.
In all seriousness, though, the thing that I think is funny about this argument, and a lot of arguments on the internet in reality, is that it is completely arbitrary.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the reason why people take it so personally is because if you have some logic to your argument, you can kind of debate the logic itself, right? But in this argument, and in arguments like this, you're completely arguing against personal opinion. There's no grounding for it. It's just completely your own view. And so it's like a very personal fight because you've always seen it as GIF or you've always seen it as Jiff, and there's no backing either way when you really think about it. And so it's it's just like personal attacks on each side. Like you're obviously a moron if you think of it this way instead of the other way. Like because there really is no grounding to it. So it's the most intense fight.
Right. I agree because I think that's exactly it. Is like this is personally right to you because it's like you see it before you hear it generally, and so it's like, oh, I've seen this word and I just pronounce it GIF, and then somebody comes along and they're like, why'd you call it GIF? That's stupid. And it just activates that little bit inside of you. We're like, no, you're stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm right.
You're the idiot.
I think that's where the viciousness of the fight comes from.
It's true.
My theory.
So the question is there a solution to this? Or is this good, healthy nature to have fights for things that don't really matter so we don't bring them out on things that actually matter?
I'm all for a meaningless internet fight. Those are always highly enjoyable, but I think the real solution is to cure the world of saying GIF and just call it GIF like it's supposed to be. That's what I think the solution is.
Should we start sending out some public service announcements and such, or?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Although, you know what? My wife actually had some follow-up with that too. And we can leave this out of the podcast if you want to. But when we first brought this up, you had mentioned that it's like, and I agreed that it was like, think of a word that starts with a GI that says GIF, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, no words do that. My wife turned to me and she was like, gist. I was like, oh no.
Right.
Gist is a word. Like, no.
I immediately regretted saying that as soon as I did on the podcast because I'm like, I'm sure there's plenty of examples that I'm just not thinking of right now.
Yeah. Listening back to us, I was just like, oh man, that is not a good moment for me sounding smart or for us sounding like really intelligent people. We were just in the heat of the moment, though. The heat of this this war that must be won.
You guys don't know what it's like being in the middle of this battle. You don't know what's going on down there. I think for the time being, though, I think we'll have to make truce with the Jiffers.
Yeah.
Until we can get rallying cries and more support on the gift side.
Till we can amass an army large enough to crush them. That is. Yes, we will have a truce until then. Yes. That sounds perfect.
It's the solution for now.
Man, that's what I'd do in Risk. There was like a computer game, Risk or whatever, that I used to play, and I'd play against easy opponents because I didn't actually want to have a fight. I just wanted to crush my opponent, and so I just amassed this like huge like 200, 300, 400 man army, and just like destroy my opponents. That's the goal for this war. That's the goal.
I was wondering where you were going with that analogy.
Well, that's all. Do I want a hard fight? No, I just want to crush them. But it's okay. It's okay. I don't have anything personally against any of you who say Jiff, by the way.
It's not personal. The war just has to be won.
It's just for fun, everyone. This is just a for funsies thing.
Have you ever played Civilization?
I tried to. I didn't have the patience to get into it.
Because I had a similar experience. This actually works really well to what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah?
because there was only 2 nations left, me and I think it was Spain or whatever the country was in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the game, I had called a truce, right? Or had this treaty.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just got like 100 nuclear bombs just built up in stockpile. And the game is turn-based. So what I did is I built enough nuclear bombs to destroy each one of their cities. And then I just called off the truce and then destroyed all their cities in one turn so they can never retaliate. Yeah. So I think that's what we need to do with the Jiffers is we just need a massive force so it just all gets eliminated in one go, you know.
That's brutal, David. That's brutal. You're like, oh yeah, I won't fight you guys as you're like piling up rocks big enough to destroy them, and then you're like, just kidding, boom. And just destroy. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, by the way, if you're a supporter of the Jiff side, you probably should have stopped when we said we want a truce. That's when you should have stopped listening.
We didn't really think through our plan too well, did we?
No, I don't think we did. It's not going to go well. That's okay.
We'll have to do a permanent truce until we can think of another plan.
Yes. I guess so.
If we must.
If I must settle down with those peanut butter people.
All right, listener. So you just heard the break in the podcast, which generally means we're moving on to something new, but we have yet again more follow-up.
New follow-up. Fresh, shiny new follow-up.
More follow-up. This actually goes back a bit, though.
Okay.
This follow-up goes all the way back to Wendys.
Oof. That was like episode 1, wasn't it?
That was episode like 3, I think, or something.
Oh my goodness. This is like, see, it's only 10 episodes for like new listeners, but like, you guys don't understand. Like, that is like some of the craziest year and a half of our lives that this podcast covers. So, you know,
it's true. So, going back, you may recall the curse of Wendys, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that curses wear off over time. You know, they kind of dissipate. And, but not so with this curse.
Tell me what happened, David.
At the university I attend, they just recently got Wendys in their food court, which I was really excited because I used to walk to the Wendys down the street. Took about 10 minutes both ways. And now it's in the food court at the student center. I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, now I can get Wendys really quick. I don't even have to walk there. And there's a bunch of students, and, you know, there's a whole bunch of them in the back. I go up to the Wendys, and I see a bunch of students in the back. I'm like, oh, awesome. This is going to be super quick. Okay.
Right. Like a bunch of young people all staffing the stuff and making the bucks. And you're like, yes, it's manned. It's ready to go.
And there's only 2 people in line. So I'm like,
whoa, okay, yeah.
Perfect timing. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon. There's only 2 people in line. There's like 10 people in the back. Like, surely I should be good, right? I go up. I order.
Yeah.
The person in front of me gets their food. The next person in front of me gets the food. The person behind me gets their food. The person behind them gets their food.
No.
I'm like, okay, what's going on? The guy that was running the cash register comes up to me. And he's like, hey, for some reason we didn't have any chicken cooking. So your chicken sandwich is going to take about 5 to 10 minutes.
What?
And I was like, of course. Like, how else could it be? And then he's like, do you want me to, like, switch your order so it'll be faster? And I was just like, no. Like, I don't want to break, like, one of your fryers or something, or have someone break a leg because of the curse. Like, just let the chicken cook.
Right.
Like, I will accept my fate, you know?
Right. You don't want to switch it to a hamburger, because if you switch it to a hamburger, like, the heating tray will light on fire and all the burgers will burn. And
right.
If you switch it to chicken nuggets, well, surprise, the chicken nuggets will have been thrown onto the floor for no apparent reason, and
right. Someone will trip and, like, crack their head open. Like, I just didn't want to bring that fate on anyone, so I just accepted. the 15 minutes it would take to get my food.
Yeah. No, I hear you. When you're stuck with a curse, it's like trying to find a short line at the grocery store. Like, I don't care which line you get into; it's the longest line that there is. So suck it up,
Right?
Because you're cursed.
So I kid you not, from the time I entered the student center to the time I left was 15 minutes.
No, it took 15. No.
It was the exact same 15-minute curse. So I cannot break free of this curse. Which is so unfortunate because I love Wendy's food for some reason. And yet I cannot get a cookie.
No, because it's delicious. You can just get a delicious chicken sandwich or hamburger almost immediately. Or in your case, almost immediately after 15 minutes.
Immediately upon waiting 15 minutes.
I will just make a note in my planner to not take you to Wendy's. I'll just just make sure that doesn't happen. Man, and it's like a chicken sandwich. You didn't even order anything weird, like, oh, I want chili with chicken strips in it, you know?
Right.
Like, I would have understood chili with chicken strips in it, or you wanted like your hamburger, but you wanted like 3 of them smushed together. Like, yeah,
and
I
a
get
baked
it.
potato.
I understand. Right. I want a baked potato shoved into the middle of my hamburger. Like, yes, I could get that. Covered in Frosty. Yeah, I could understand that. But like a chicken sandwich, they should have a chicken sandwich ready to go, but they don't. Oh, I'm sorry that you're cursed with this.
I just have this visual of us like going through a drive-through. And you being like really excited, like, oh look, there's no one in the drive-thru, we should go. And I'll just be like, no, Aaron, it's not worth it. I'm in your car. Like, you can't do this.
Please don't do this to yourself.
They like can't get the window open in the drive-thru lane to like the fire alarm goes off and all the doors lock or something.
You get a flat tire trying to get there. And
there's a nail
the
in
car
the drive-thru.
alarm starts going off. Yeah. No. That's exactly what would happen. I can see it. I know.
The Frosty machine bursts open and there's just ice cream everywhere that they're cleaning up for 15 minutes.
Oh. That made me like really want a Frosty real bad, visualizing that. Like just Frosty everywhere. Like, oh. Wait. Okay, you want another Holy War type thing?
Okay, what's that?
Do you get vanilla or chocolate Frosties?
Ooh. That's a holy war inside myself. I'm generally a chocolate guy, I think, but sometimes I have to go for that vanilla.
Okay.
You see, Aaron, to give you some perspective, though, I was old enough to remember when you didn't have an option.
What?
There was only chocolate.
Wait, they used to only have chocolate?
I forget how much younger you are than me, but yes. They used to only have chocolate. I remember when they switched and vanilla was the new cool thing on the block.
Well,
so
I mean, yeah, because everyone wants vanilla. I mean, like...
So I, unlike you, was indoctrinated into the chocolate realm because I had no other choice. So it's hard for me to break those deep inner longings for the chocolate of my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the only problem that this ever brings up in my life is that I never want a chocolate Frosty. Like, if I want a Frosty, I'm getting a vanilla Frosty. Like, that's what I want.
Okay.
But if you don't look the cashier in the eye and say, I want a small vanilla Frosty, they'll come back with the chocolate Frosty because everyone just buys chocolate.
I have to glare them down, look at them while they're getting it, just staring.
Yeah. And like the times that they've come back with a chocolate Frosty, I was just deeply, deeply saddened. It was like, you couldn't just get this one thing right for me, huh? Like this one thing that would make me happy, huh?
Why do you hate my joy?
David, my wife just showed me something that makes me deeply surprised and saddened.
Uh-oh, what is this?
She said that she didn't even know that they made vanilla Frosties, that they even had vanilla as an option. She didn't even know. I only get vanilla. I only get vanilla. Oh, yeah, way.
Oh dear.
I don't know why you'd want a chocolate frost. I don't know what it is. I think I'm just kind of a vanilla person over a chocolate ice cream person, but that's okay.
I agree. Okay. Generally with ice cream, I go vanilla before I go chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I like about the Frosty is it's so simple. It's not so strong. It's just a light chocolate taste more than the really thick, rich chocolate taste, which I don't like as much with ice cream.
Okay. That's fair.
And again, just that
understandable
indoctrination as a child. You can't get past that.
Yeah, seriously. No getting away from that. But cause that activates the nostalgia button in your brain, which just is it's not even fair. It's not even fair to fight anyone on the nostalgia button, because it's just
right.
Why do you like this thing? And you're like, I don't know. I can't give you any reasonable reason why this thing means so much to me, but it means so much to me. And so, it's just how it is. It's just how it is.
True. So, I'm just accepting that I will always have a curse. But
okay,
I will just
this
have to
is
live
good.
with that.
Well, see, the first part is accepting, because as soon as you accept that this is how it's going to be, you can plan.
True.
And you can be prepared.
Just have a laptop ready to go in line.
Exactly. Because if you foolishly think it's going to take less than 15 minutes every time you go to Wendys, you'll be disappointed, and it'll only be your fault. But if you're prepared and you know it's going to take 15 minutes, you can say, hey, today I'm going to do something else for 15 minutes while my food's getting ready. And they'll come out and they'll be like, you'll order and they'll be like, okay, it'll be out in a minute. And you're like, no, it won't. And you walk away for 15 minutes. That's the right thing to do, I think.
Don't even bother. Just go to the table.
And as you walk back, they will say, oh, your order just barely is ready. And you're like, I know it is. It's been 15 minutes, I know. You can accept this in a very melancholy old man kind of way, and that'll bring much joy to me. I don't know if it'll bring anything to anyone else, but it'll bring joy to me. So
the next time I do it, I'll GoPro it for you so you can see the play-by-play.
Please, yes. That would be amazing.
One more item of somewhat follow-up.
Holy moly, this is a lot of follow-up.
This item of follow-up is more for the listeners, just to know that there are, consistent good things in the world that go on. And one of those things is me and Aaron going to a roller coaster park every summer. And don't worry, the tradition continued this year. We did it again. It always marks the end of summer for me because it's at the end of July, which is kind of when I start preparing for school. So it's like me and Aaron go to roller coaster park, then summer's over. Time to get back to school.
Exactly. Well, and then there's just nothing to look forward to in the summer.
That's what I was looking forward to for summer. That's the only thing in summer that I like. So I don't even care after that point.
Right. It's just now you can accept that life goes on and that school will start and that you'll keep doing your work and everything will go back to normal as soon as we get to a coaster park. That's just what we need to do.
So, anyways, just wanted the listeners to know we still got ices.
Yes.
Although we did plan poorly this time because the icy stations closed before the park closed, which was ridiculous. That made me
so it was like 20 minutes to closing of the park or 15 minutes or something like that. And I was like, hey, last time, let's get an icy, let's get an icy and let's get out of here. And then all the stands are closing up and I was like, what? No, wait, no.
Give me my icy.
I didn't have an icy. Exactly. I didn't have an icy for the ride home and I was just, that was disappointing, but it's all good. Although this time they got my request to mix it half and half instead of giving me 2 ices. So that was good.
Right.
I appreciated that. Good times.
This is very good. Listeners, you can rest at ease now. That's not the phrase, but you can relax now. You can know that this occurred. So Hopefully that fulfills your anxiety you had whether or not we went to a roller coaster park. This summer.
This last weekend, I was at a convention center, and I was thirsty because, people get thirsty because, like humans, they need water. This is something that has been true from, I'm pretty sure, like the dawn of life on this planet.
Thank you for describing the fact that all mankind needs water. I appreciate this.
It's important.
Some of the listeners may have not known.
Every living thing needs water in some respect, as far as I can tell, and as far as I have learned. And man is included in this thing. And while man has cleverly tried to disguise water as Coke and as Kool-Aid and as soup, still needs water. Man still needs water.
Okay.
And not a little bit of water. Like, people need like a good amount of water, like a gallon of water a day, to stay functioning, healthy, and happy. Some people don't get that. Don't drink that much water, and this deeply saddens me because their life would be better with more water. But it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. So I'm at a convention and I want some water. And there's two places I can get water. There's a drinking fountain, and there are vending machines. And I think to myself, I don't want to go to the drinking fountains because I want water. Like, I want a lot of water. And at a very busy convention, there are lots of people at the drinking fountains, and you can't just stay there and drink as much water as you need. You get a sip of water, and the next person gets a sip of water, and the next person gets a sip of water, which is great and good and grand, but I need more than a sip of water because I'm thirsty because I've been at this convention for hours. So I wander over to the vending machine, and I think to myself, this water looks pretty good. Except for that it's like Dasani water, which is just nasty, but like whatever. I don't know what they put in their water, but it's just nasty. But anyway, like water. I just need water. I don't really care what kind of water. I would have picked any generic bottle of water. So I'm looking at these bottles of water, and I think, I wonder how much it's going to cost me to get this bottle of water. So I crouch down because the water's on the bottom shelf because people don't want to buy water. People want to buy like sodas and whatever. So I crouch down and I look at the waters on the bottom shelf, and I'm trying to find a price, and the price isn't like, you know how some vending machines have prices like by every single item, even if all the items are the same.
Right.
This vending machine was not like that. It only had one price tag for the whole water section, which was fine. It's whatever. I crouch down, and I'm trying to find it, and I finally see it. And it read $3.75.
Oh, jeez.
It was nearly $4 for a single bottle of water.
That's more than a gallon of gasoline. Holy crap.
That's more than a case of some waters.
Right.
And I was disgusted. I was so sickened by this thing. How could they charge $4 for a single piece of plastic filled with life-giving water? It made me more furious in the moment that it happened, but as of this moment, it just makes me deeply saddened that this thing has happened. And that you know what? I didn't get a water because there's no way I'm going to spend $4. I will go thirsty before I spend $4 on a single bottle. And this wasn't like a gallon of water or like a liter of water. It was like a regular plastic bottle of water, like a 12-ounce, 16-ounce bottle of water.
Right.
And I was just so disgusted because it's like, how can you feel good about yourself charging this much for the substance that brings life to all people? Like, how can you do this? Like, we live in this beautiful first world country where there's water everywhere. There's modern plumbing, which supplies water to almost every home, and it's so readily accessible, and we have the means and the ability to get water, and these monsters are charging $4 for a single bottle of the stuff.
I feel your pain. I always hated whenever you go traveling anywhere, right? There's always hyped up food prices and drink prices, and it always just makes me mad because they're just taking advantage of the fact that you can't like get it anywhere else if you're like in a park or something like that, and it's like, really? Like, I already paid you $100 to get in here. Like, now you're gonna charge me $10 for that one hot dog? You know, like, it just makes me super mad. But yes, water in particular is very frustrating because you literally could just go to the bathroom sink and start drinking it, and they couldn't stop you.
Yeah. So really, what I'm paying for is a $4 plastic container for my water.
Right.
Which is like, I don't want to spend $4 on a small disposable plastic container. And I would have paid up to $2 for a bottle of water. Like, I was ready to pay like a lot of money for a bottle of water. 'Cause, you know, like $2, that's a pretty pricey bottle of water. You know, I seriously can go to the store and get a case of water for much cheaper than that.
Right.
And $4, it just made me so sad, David.
So, what is the solution, I guess?
I just had an idea that I hadn't thought of before. And it's not a very good idea. I don't like it very much. It's not very fun. It's mostly just...
It's too practical.
It's too practical, right? I was going to say, like, there should be a maximum price per ounce of water. Like, for each of the individual ways to distribute water. Like, bottles of water should be, like, you can only charge at most this much per ounce of water. But it's not a very good solution, because then, like, all the companies would pay that or charge that, and then it's just no good. It's no good.
It's not really a good solution because it sounds like something that might actually happen.
Right. And would actually have terrible consequences that we don't want to deal with. Because really, like, it makes me sad that there's any kind of capitalization on the fact that people need water.
Right.
It's one of those things where I'm like, really, we should just have it for free for everyone. Minus, you know, the cost to get the water to the people. But, like, if you can sell bottles of water for 75 cents a bottle, there's no way that I'm going to believe you when you say that you need to charge $3.75 for a single bottle of water to make money. Like, that is not the case. Right. And it was crappy Dasani water, too. I hate Dasani water. Tastes gross.
You're one of those water aficionados, eh? Connoisseurs.
I'm generally not very picky. I try not to be picky because I need water. But, man, there's just something about Dasani that just tastes exactly like how I imagine liquid plastic tastes. And I just don't like it. Like, if I have a headache and I think cool, refreshing water, man, if I drink Dasani water, like, my headache gets worse because it tastes so bad. Like,
Note to self, do not buy Aaron Dasani water.
And I also can't stand, if you take a water bottle and you refill it, like you drink all the water out of it, you refill it and you leave it in a car, man, that water's nasty too. Right. I can't drink that water. That stuff, like, I'll only drink it in the most extreme of circumstances where I'm like, I need it.
So I have actually two possible solutions. Okay,
let's hear it.
So the first one's more practical. Just like, in general, I've been doing better about carrying around my own water bottle because I am tired of, like, drinking fountains and not having water on hand. And plus, I'm a teacher, so you can't go teaching without water. It just kills your throat, you know. So I've gotten really good about making sure I always have a water bottle. And it's hard for places like a convention or something, but if water bottles were more easy to carry, like everyone used to have those Camelbacks. I didn't like those as much because they got really gross. But I feel like water bottles should just be able to, like, hook on your clothes somehow, you know, just like on your belt loop.
Yeah.
underneath your armpit or something. I don't know. Just if water bottles were easier to attach to you, and just like everyone had them, then it wouldn't be as weird to have the water bottle just like on your side or something. Like everyone should just have water all the time available to them.
Yes. You saying these words to me right now makes me think, man, I wish water wasn't such a bother to transport. Because, man, that stuff's a pain in the butt to transport. It's non-compressible, because it's liquid, so you can't make it any smaller, and you have to carry around something. I also felt kind of like I was getting a little bit scolded when you were bringing up the fact that you have a water bottle, and I was like, I know, I have a water bottle too, and I left it that day because I was a fool.
Right.
It was in the car.
Because you don't want to carry around a water bottle all day while you're at a convention.
Right. Well, and doubly, like I'm in like it was another like comic convention, and I was in costume, and like I'm all for the Camelback idea, but it's like I need like a super low profile Camelback or something, because I don't want to be carrying around like, here's my beautiful costume that my wife made me, and also this blue sporty looking Camelback, like and the little hose dangling out in front of my face. Nah, not a chance.
Right.
And then like carrying around a water bottle is hard, so perhaps a way to carry water that's not such a pain in the butt.
So that's the first like practical solution.
Okay, I like it.
But a more David and Aaron save the world type solution.
Okay, yeah. One that'll actually work, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
In the long run. In the long run.
Right.
With the big investments. Is that instead of drinking fountains, like the old fashioned water coolers where you have those little like cone cups that are super annoying.
Yeah.
And you fill it with water.
Horrible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of cone cups, what if they still had machines like that, but they had little water bottles you could take out that were made out of paper instead of plastic? Because plastic's already bad for the environment anyways, right?
Right.
So what if they just like, it dispensed like an entire paper water bottle? You could just like unscrew it, fill it up, and then you had this to-go paper water bottle with you that you could carry as long as you needed. And then you fill it up and you go and you're good to go for the rest of the day,
I like it. Except that it sounds like as good of an idea as paper straws sound like a good of an idea, as good of an idea. You're like, well, plastic's bad for the, so we'll just use paper for the straws. And it's like, yes, but this has turned into a horrible disaster where paper straws that don't work and
yeah, I'm sure paper water bottles would have no repercussions in terms of spilling or soaking through or anything like that.
like you pull it out and then it says on the paper, like it says, you must drink the water out of this container within 10 minutes or it will be all down your side. This is not a long-term solution for your water needs. But I like it. Because that's my main complaint with them little cups and them little cones, is that they're little. I wanted a bottle. Like, I wanted, like, enough water. What if instead of, like, paper water bottles, they had just, like a red Solo cup dispenser? So you just, like, pull out a red Solo cup and then fill it up with water. A lot of water, because people need water.
Right. That would be pretty good.
And then you can have, like, specific places to put the Solo cups so that they can be washed and reused. Reusable cups.
I don't know if I'd want to use a reusable cup from somebody else, but
no, they'd be washed. They'd be clean. We could wash them. Just like, what if it wasn't a plastic cup? What if it was like a cup? Like one you'd get at a restaurant, like a cup,
like stainless steel or glass.
Yeah,
frosted glass.
Not glass. Glass is a horrible idea. but steel, I like steel. Steel's better. In the bottom of the cup, it's like the plastic's thicker because it's the bottom. Inside that, you could like clean that out a little bit. You'd stick like a bomb or like a little thermal device with a tracker on it, so that if it leaves the place, like if it leaves the convention center, like it just melts out the bottom, or like it just explodes. So that, like, you can't use it outside of the convention center.
I like how it's not about getting the money back for the company. It's all about just like revenge for their bad idea, for their evil task they just did.
Yeah. I mean, they should feel bad. We should make the cup and then put like little LED lights inside, so that like as soon as it leaves the premise, it like melts out the bottom, and then it like lights up, and it's like horrible thief, and then they get the message, that they're a horrible and dirty, rotten thief.
A speaker with like a person yelling at them. Comes out the bottom.
Yes. Hey, this guy over here, he stole this cup because he's too poor. He's a horrible person. So,
sounds brilliant. I love it.
I like it. Yeah, and then there's just a place to put them after you're done, so you can just like slip it into like a trash can looking thing, but the trash can like sort them and stack them and clean them, and then you just pay some teenager to go through and pick the cups up from the trash can machines and go put them back with the drinking fountain dispensers.
Interesting.
I like it. Although, on this note, can I just say that the water bottle drinking fountains are a problem well solved. Because
indeed.
You have a water bottle, and trying to fill up a water bottle at drinking fountain is like, I always feel ridiculous, and I always feel like it's taking way longer than it should.
Right.
But then they have the machine that just spits out like loads of water into a cup. Like, it's got this place where you put the cup, and then it just goes, and it fills up your water bottle really fast and efficiently.
Right.
We need that. We just have that, but also the cups.
On that note, though, I've actually always wished that like the part that fills up the water bottle could actually like go out, like a little hose that you could grab, because I want that much water from the drinking fountain when I'm using it. Just like, I want to put it down my throat and just fill that up as much as I can. Like, don't give me the slow flow. I want the fast flow that the water bottle's getting.
Like, I'm a glutton for water. I need it. I need it all in me. That sounds beautiful. Oh, I just had another good idea. So there's like a hose, right?
Uh-huh.
You're talking about like a hose. But what if it was like how like red vines are like a straw? You take them and you stick them in your soda, and you drink the soda through the straw that's a red vine, and then you eat the red vine because you're hungry.
Right.
What if there were like little sections? So it's like this hose is like sectioned off. So you pull the hose down and it's a red vine, right? And then you like slurp your water out. You just have to pull that little. You just have to like disconnect it from the.
You get that section.
Right, like a paper. It's got a paper covering or something. And you disconnect it from the other section, and then you can take your red vine to go. And you had water, and now you get a treat, and just life would just be good, That would be even better.
Let's just make it simpler. We just have a trough, and then there's just a container of red vines, and people just grab them, suck out from the trough, and then go on their way.
I can see it. Those Costco cases of red vines that are just like the barrel full of them. And then, like, one of those industrial sinks just full of water. I love it. Just, we're reverting back to the way it used to be, You see animals, they eat out of troughs and cups and buckets and bowls. And, we're animals, too. Like, people are animals, too.
Go back to a simpler time.
Yeah.
When man drank from red vines.
But seriously, though, those buckets of red vines, like, who eats that many red vines? I have been at so many parties with one of them buckets of red vines, and they never get finished. Like, I don't think I've ever seen an empty one of those. Like, they always are half full, at least, of red vines. It's perfect for parties, because then you never feel like you're going to run out, so you can eat as many as you want to. And then you just keep eating them, but, whatever. It's all good. Well, I think that's a good solution.
Red Vine Troughs.
That's
what we got to after all this discussion.
Yeah. Oh, boo-hoo. Somebody was charging $4 for their bottle of water. And so now we're going to have troughs full of water for people to eat red vines with. I like it.
Makes sense to me.
I like it. But seriously though, like, come on, $4, come on, man.
It is pretty ridiculous.
I just can't even. It's criminal is what it is. Well, I have a problem well solved. If we want a problem well solved.
Yeah? We have time?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay.
I'll cruise through it. There's not much going on. Our problems well solved. There's not much to talk about because it's already solved. Like, we didn't have to do any of the work. Like, this podcast, it's a whole lot of work coming up with ideas to solve everyone else's problems and my problems. The problem well solved is just, it doesn't require any work out of us. So, it's like a meal that is delivered to your house rather than a meal that you had to cook, It's just
true.
It's easier. People like them because it's easier.
It just comes on a silver platter for us to analyze and to spread the good news.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So, like many of my problems well solved, this one begins many years ago. many years ago. I don't even know how long because, like, the number's irrelevant. Because one day, somebody found a bunch of grass, took the kernels on top, and was like, hey, you know what we could do with these? We could eat them. And then someone else was like, dude, that's stupid. We should grind them up and eat them. So they ground them, and then they ate it, and they were like, man, this is just powder, man. This is no good. So we got to mix it with something. And so they mixed it with, like, probably, like, water, and they were like, wow, that was a bad idea. Like, let's not do that again. But then their chicken laid an egg, and it fell in the powder and cracked open because, I don't know. So then there was egg in the powder, and they were like, oh, snap, let's mix that up. And then they mixed it up, and it tastes like eggy powder, but, like, whatever. So anyway, you can see the process, right, of how these things develop. One day, like, their agave plant, like, threw up on the powder, and they were like, hey, that's actually pretty good, and we'll mix that in, and we'll mix this in. And then one day, we got to, like, bread, and then from bread, we got, like, muffins, and from muffins, we got, like, all these other good baked goods, right?
Was that in the exact order that it happened?
Almost certainly.
My vision of how civilization developed as a whole has just been changed based on your description.
This is the goal of the podcast, is to bring people to an understanding that is closer to my understanding of how things are. And your understanding, of course, but I'm kind of selfish that way anyway. So one day they figured out if we put this in and we put this in and we put this in and we put that much of that and this much of that, eventually we throw it in this hot thing for a couple hours. Surprise, it comes out and it's like food. So one day, like, they were like, well, let's take this bread and we'll add a bunch of chocolate chips to it and we'll pull out some of the yeast. And they were like, holy moly, it's a chocolate chip cookie. And one day they were like, oh, you know what I could go for? I could go for, like, something that's, like, really sweet. Like we just cover it in, like, liquid sugar is what we'll do. And so they added a bunch of sugar to the recipe, to the bread recipe, and it came out. And holy moly, it was a cake. And one day they were like, man, I could go for just, like, a circular thing, but, like, not like round, not like a ball, more like a ring. I could go for, like, a ring of bread. And bam, a bagel was born. The first bagel was born. They were like, man, these ring breads are really good. What would we call them? We would call them a bagel.
And that's history class for you all, children. That's how it all happened.
So one day somebody was like, man, I could go for cake, but I don't want to make a whole cake, so let's make small cakes. And cupcakes were born. They were like, man, we got all these cups. We could put the batter in the cups. We put the cups in the oven. Bam, cupcake. It's perfect. And then one day somebody was like, man, you know what I could go for? I could go for a cupcake, but it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. So what if we add some berries and call it a muffin? And we'll eat it for breakfast. And that's how muffins were born, right? That's how the progression of things has gone up to me. And I was very happy.
It ends at you. You were the last one in this development series.
It continues past me. It will continue on for generations. But I don't know what those generations will do with their ground up grass kernels, but I know what I do with mine. So one day there's a me walking through the grocery store, and I think to myself, man, I could go for a muffin, but I don't want to buy a muffin. Like, I kind of want to make some muffins, but like, I don't know about muffins. Like, this isn't like, I just don't know. So I'm walking through, and then there's like the baking section, right? And you walk through the baking section, and there's boxes, and inside these boxes, they're full of this powder mixed with sugar and all the good things, and you add the liquids to the powder, and you throw it in the oven, and it makes for a really easy cake or muffin or whatever you want, right? It's a box mix. This is what they are. They're box mixes, okay? And let me just say, box mixes are incredible. This is the problem well solved. Somebody said, man, I'm getting real sick and tired of every time I want myself a cupcake, having to take all the things out of the places and measure them out and do all the things to put them all together. They're like, man, I wish I could just like buy it all mixed together, and then we'll just crack it open, throw in some eggs, throw in a little bit of oil, throw in a little bit of water, mix that sucker up, throw it in the oven, done. We have cake, right? Genius. Absolutely genius. And and I don't know who came up with the idea of a box mix, but I'm very grateful for this person because they allow me to make muffins and to make good things without all the hassle and all the hustle and all the bustle of finding myself some poppy seeds. Like, where do I buy poppy seeds? I don't know, but they're in the box mix, so I don't have to worry about it. They're in their own little package, you know, and I can make myself some poppy seed muffins.
From hunters and gatherers, we have evolved to Betty Crocker. This is what it's all led to. Is this moment.
Yes. So one day, I can take this a step further. One day, I bought a muffin mix, and it was in my cupboard, and I was just, you know how you do. And you think, oh man, I could go for something sweet right now. So I open up my cupboard, because I could always go for something sweet. I've been eating sweets all week. I made a batch of cookies, and I took them to a party, and they only ate half the cookies, so guess who had to eat the other half of the cookies? I had to eat the other half of the cookies. Anyway.
Nothing you're saying right now surprises me. I can verify this from my own experience, but continue on.
Thank you. So I pull out the box, and I'm like, I don't really want to get out the muffin tins, because at the time we only had the little tiny muffin tins, right? So it's like instead of being like a big old like a Costco muffin, you know, like a big muffin, they were just little tiny muffins. It's like, I don't really want to take the effort to clean those things after I put the muffins in them. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, what could I do? And I was looking at the box, and it said it had cooking directions for a loaf. And I was like, no way. I could make a muffin loaf. I could make an almond poppy seed muffin loaf. I don't have to eat muffins. I can eat a loaf. I can slice myself off a slice any old time I want to. This is great. So I got a muffin loaf and I put the batter in. Oh my goodness. It came out like a muffin, but it was a loaf, and I got to slice off slices and grind them. Oh, this is the problem well solved. This is, if you're ever needing something sweet but don't want to bother with muffins, you can still just make a loaf of muffin bread. You just got to go to your store and pick up the box mix and bring it back home and cook it up, and so good. It's so good, David. and I just,
Aaron, I appreciate how much joy this brings you. Because I agree it's a problem well solved, but it's especially a problem well solved for you. Because I think you may have the biggest sweet tooth out of any person I've ever met. So anything that can help satisfy that is a good thing in your case.
A greater compliment I have never known. Thank you, my friend.
Another reason my box mixes are a problem well solved is that they allow people like me and you to actually bake things, which would probably not be possible otherwise.
Yeah. Right.
I have no idea where to start with making bread or muffins or anything like this. It's or brownies.
Man, bread's a whole different animal, man. That stuff's crazy. Like, just go to your local grocery store, buy yourself a loaf. They got plenty of loaves. They got more loaves than they need. It's okay. It's okay.
But indeed, a problem we'll solve. I look forward to when like full meals come in box mixes. Like, oh, steak dinner in a box mix, Just throw it in a pan. It comes out as a 4-course meal ready to go.
It's a 4-course meal, right? Throw it in the oven for... David, I think they have this. I think this is a thing already, okay? Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
TV dinners.
No. That's different.
What? Why is that different? It says on the Hungry Man box, steak. That's what it says on the Hungry Man box.
But it's a microwave meal. Microwave meal is different. Let's be honest. Microwaves are awesome, but microwave stuff never tastes as good as something that's baked or cooked on the stove,
No, I think you're totally right. Because, like, if I had to make my muffin loaf by microwaving it, I guarantee that would suck at least 100% of the life out of my muffin loaf. And I would be very sad eating that muffin loaf. It would just not be the same. Right. And so, you have shown me the error of my ways, and you were right, my friend. You were right.
To be more clear, like I don't want just like, I put steak in the oven and steak comes out. Like I want some amorphous liquid that I put in a pan, and then like somehow it comes out of the oven as a 4-course meal. Like I want that much control over molecular structure at some point that we don't even have to think about the food that goes in and what comes out.
Yes.
Some weird liquid goes in, amazing meal comes out. That's the box mix of the future that I'm looking forward to.
I love it. You just get packages of this substance, like a bottle of whatever, and the different, like, there's different types, because like some of them have a higher protein content, and those ones you can easily turn into a steak dinner or a hamburger meal. Some of them have a higher carb content, which turns into cakes and puddings and all these good things. And some of them have a higher fat content, and those turn into bacon and mostly just bacon, but
Put in liquid, get out bacon. That's the ultimate achievement in cooking, I think.
Just heat activated, self-arranging molecules. I love it. It's how it should be. I think you have shown me the future, and I am grateful for this. Because I didn't know what the future was. Just like how the first person to see grass kernels didn't know that someday those grass kernels would be a muffin loaf in my mouth. It's beautiful.
Is there a reason you're not just calling it wheat? I'm really confused.
Yeah. It's more mysterious if I don't call it wheat. It shows it for what it is.
That's
grass
fair.
Kernels.
That's fair. If you don't think of wheat, if you've never seen wheat before, it probably looks very much like a weed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like dandelions. Like, surprise, it's a weed, but you can eat it, and people like to put it on their salads, I guess.
Good point. All right, you have corrected the error of my ways, my friend. From now on, I will call wheat grass kernels in every context.
Grass kernels. I would like some ground grass kernels. This recipe calls for ground grass kernels. It's perfect.
I would like some grass kernel thins, please.
Some grass kernel thins.
Can you please put some grass kernels in my oatmeal and my cereal, please? With some milk.
That would be just perfect. If you could do that for me. So, friends, keep your eyes open for problems well solved. They're everywhere, and they will brighten your day and make your life better.